Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today's lecture will be about grammar, simple present tense, and present continuous. These are two tenses that will be discussed in this lecture, inshallah. أهداف المحاضرة, that is the objectives of the learning simple present and present continuous tenses in English language. We have to express habitual actions, that in order to describe actions or events that regularly happen or are true in general. This is about present simple. Stating or to state, to convey information, that is universally accepted or timeless. To discuss future events that are part of a timetable or schedule. Describing daily, weekly, or habitually routines and schedules. Reporting historical events, as to narrate stories or historical events in the present tense or immediately, and engagement. The second is that is related to present continuous tense, which is here in order to describe actions or events that are accounting or that are occurring, at the moment of speaking, and also to discuss temporary actions or situations, to talk about future plans or arrangements, and to express irritation or annoyance, or let's say about repeated or ongoing actions. Also to describe changes or developments of ongoing actions, let's say. By mastering, these two tenses, that's simple present and present continuous, learners can effectively communicate in various contexts, from describing daily routines and habits to discussing current activities and future plans. These tenses are fundamental for expressing actions, states, and events in English language with accuracy and clarity. This is the introduction, of course, and that we are going to do in this lecture. The key words of the lecture here, of course, since we deal with the grammar, we deal with, of course, simple present tense, with let's say adverbs of time, like always, usually, often, sometimes, etc. Every day, every week, also expressing sometimes facts, habits, routines, schedules, verbs indicating habits, like eat, drink, go, study, learn, etc. Present continuous, we have, of course, certain or other, let's say, adverbs of time, like now, at the moment, currently, these days, etc. Verb tenses, of course, generally with ing, that's, we use the verb to be is are plus ing form. This is the rule. And, of course, verbs indicating temporary actions or situations, like, of course, what we mean, main verb, like work, study, read, teach, etc. For future plans also we use, or arrangements, we use, be going to, that's I'm going to, or what we call sometimes gonna. So gonna, that is am or is or are going to. Phrases expressing, of course, irritation or annoyance, always, constantly. Now, this is, as you know, to introduce the lecture. Of course, here, generally, we'll start by contextualizing the importance of understanding these two fundamental aspects of English grammar, which are, basic tenses, simple present, present continuous, and they are both present. We can begin with a brief overview of the goals and objectives of the lesson that we have already discussed, highlighting how mastering these tenses can enhance students' communication skills and proficiency in English. Emphasize also the practical relevance of these tenses in everyday language use, academic writing, and professional communication. We'll also provide examples of situations where the simple present tense and present continuous tense are commonly used or to engage students and demonstrate the real-world applicability of the lesson content. Also, we are going to introduce the simple present tense now and present continuous tense through clear explanation, examples, and visual aids to ensure comprehension provide opportunities for students to practice forming and using both tenses in context through guided exercises, pair or group activities, and role-playing scenarios, and encourage active participation and peer collaboration to foster a supportive learning environment where students feel comfortable practicing and experimenting with the language. Throughout this lesson, incorporate formative assessment strategies such as quizzes, short experience exercises, and classes discussions or other activities to engage students' understanding and provide timely feedback, addressing any misconceptions or difficulties that arise, and offer additional explanations or examples is needed to reinforce learning. Finally, we conclude the lesson by summarizing key concepts, highlighting important takeaways, and encouraging students to apply their knowledge of the simple present tense and present continuous tense in their language practice outside the classroom. Now, the main themes or concepts, let's say, of the lecture on how to introduce yourself. Of course, this is the first one. Now, of course, here we use that is first concept of time, that is simple present tense. This tense is used to describe actions, habits, routines, facts, or general truths or facts, let's say, that occur regularly, repeatedly, or are always true. It's not necessarily tied to the present moment but represents, actions that happen habitually or as a matter of routines. Examples, she walks to school every day, for example. She walks to school every day. Now I will say something now, the rules about, of the simple present tense, that is, it depends on the subject if it is singular or plural, okay? And there's something else I want to say, that is all present tenses are affected by the subject if it is singular or plural. So we use what here, she, he, or she, it, let's say, and any singular noun or subject must be followed by a verb plus s. That is, this is called, simple present verb. Okay, simple present verb singular because it ends with s. This is why we said here, she walks to school every day. And we said every day to indicate that this is what, let's say, normal or repetitive action, that is every day, takes place every day. To delve deeper into this tense, you need to know that it is used to describe actions, habits, routines, facts, as we discussed earlier, okay? Now, this simple present tense is versatile and commonly used to describe actions and states that are habitual, like, as I said, habitual or routine, like she goes to school every day. Or permanent sometimes. It's not necessarily tied to the present moment, but represent, as we said, actions that happen regularly. Here are some examples illustrating various contexts in which the simple present tense is used. Habitual actions like, as we said, for example, she drinks a cup of tea every morning. This sentence describes a habitual action, drinking tea, that is to say, that occurs regularly every morning. Routines, we can see examples. He goes to the gym 3 times a week. He goes to the gym 3 times a week. So this sentence describes a routine going to the gym that happens repeatedly, indicating a regular pattern of behavior. Now, the third here, we can say facts or general truths. Facts or general truths. This is one of the, let's say, or that express, through the simple present tense. Example, the sun rises in the east, or every morning. We know that. So it's a fact. This sentence states, a general truth, that is the direction of the sun rising, that is universally accepted and remains, unchanged over time. Permanent states or conditions. Of course, other example, let's say, about facts, we can say water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, let's say. Water boils. Water freezes at 0 degree. So, that's these are facts, okay? And of course, the world is and nature full of facts. So other sentences, or that is, we could talk about permanent states or conditions. For example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, that's the grade. This sentence expresses, okay, a fact, of course, as I discussed, and a permanent fact, the boiling point of water, that is always true and does not change. Hobbies or interests, yes, also hobbies and interests are also expressed by simple present. For example, we can say she plays the piano in her free time. Okay, he plays football every day. Okay, this sentence describes a hobby, plays the piano, that is part of the person's routine or regular activities. Scheduled or scheduled events, for example, the train departs at 8 p.m. Sometimes, of course, this is one of the uses of simple present that it indicates sometimes future. Okay, that is verbs of arrival or departure, sometimes used in simple present tense. So here we can say the train departs, or the plane leaves, or takes off. For example, this is at 6 o'clock. The train or the plane arrives at 6 o'clock tomorrow. So this is, we can say, arrives, not will arrive, because here we use simple present tense in this case. So this sentence indicates scheduled event, the departure of the train that occurs regularly according to timetable. In each of these examples, let's say the simple present tense is used to convey actions, habits, routines, facts, etc. Okay, are always, of course, true. It emphasizes the timeless or habitual nature of the actions or states described, regardless of when they take place. Okay, this is all about present simple. Now, present continuous tense, this tense is used to describe actions that are happening at the same time or the moment of speaking, the same time of speaking or moment of speaking. Actions like, let's say, or that are currently in progress or temporary situations. This is also all expressed by present continuous. It emphasizes the present continuous, emphasizes the ongoing nature of an action happening in the present. For example, they are studying for the exam right now. We are studying English, for example, right now. You are listening to me right now. My friend is, let's say, discussion with his friends. So we can say she is smiling. So these actions, that is present continuous. Now, the rule of the present continuous, I will say that, of course, depends on the subject, if it is singular or plural, or add I. So here we have, because we have three auxiliaries must be used in present continuous tense, which is, of course, is, am, are. Is for singular subjects, he, she, it, or any singular subject. Okay, a man, a boy, a university, let's say a woman. Okay, a policeman. This is, we use is plus ing. If the subject is I, we use am plus ing. So, for example, I am reading, مثلا, let's say, a story right now. I am doing my job, let's say. Okay, so we use I am plus ing, plus ing. Now, for plural, for singular, plural subject, I mean, when the subject is plural, or like plural noun or pronoun like you, we, they, we use are. So are is for plural, so we can say you are listening to me, we are studying. Okay, or مثلا students are studying English right now. Students are, let's say, doing some homework right now. So are with plural noun. Okay, so but the present continuous tense, also known as the present progressive tense. Yes, this is, we have two different terms, continuous or progressive. Both are the same, by the way. Is used to describe actions that are currently happening at the moment of speaking, or actions that are in progress. Okay, and this is known, of course, emphasizing their ongoing nature. It's also used to describe temporary situations or actions. Also, we discussed this. Here are some examples demonstrating the usage of present continuous tense, and I want you to notice the use of verb to be is are plus ing verb, and which is of course a must in this, to express or this tense, which is present continuous tense. So let's see now what examples that mean. Action happening now. Okay, example, she is reading a book. Look at this, she is reading a book. If we change she into they, it becomes they are reading a book. Okay, so you have to be careful about the subject, if it's singular or plural. This sentence describes, of course, an action, reading a book, that is currently taking place at the moment of speaking. She is reading right now. You are listening to me right now. Okay. Activities in progress, also the same thing. Activity in progress, that is also in action. Example, they are studying for their exam, for example. They are studying. Look at it. They are studying for their exam. We are studying English skills, okay, English language, for example. Ongoing activities like studying for exams, that is, of course, in progress at the present moment. Number 3, future plans or arrangements. Sometimes we use present continuous as well to express future or future plans or arrangements. If you have, let's say, arrangements or an appointment with a doctor, for example, a dentist, okay, you can say, I am seeing the dentist next Monday, for example. I am seeing. Okay, we don't say I will see. This is simple future, but you can say I am seeing the doctor, because it's what? Arrangement or an appointment or future plan. So, for example, here, they are meeting their friends for dinner tonight. They are meeting their friends for dinner tonight. This sentence refers to future plans or arrangements, that is meeting friends for dinner, and of course tonight. That has already been scheduled and is considered as happening in the near future. Another also point, which is ongoing changes or developments. Example, for example, to ongoing changes or developments, the company is expanding its operations to new markets. So the company is expanding its operations, etc. This sentence describes an ongoing change or development, expanding operations, that is happening currently in this company and is likely to continue over time. In each of these examples, the present continuous tense is used to convey actions or situations that are happening at the moment of speaking, are currently in progress, or are temporary in nature. It emphasizes the ongoing nature of the action or situations, providing, of course, a snapshot of the present moment. Now, again, but as you can say, I told you about another example with am, okay, because it is also another verb used in this tense. When the subject is I, you should use am plus ing. So, مثلا, I am studying English. I am learning, let's say, languages. I am writing, for example. I am doing something. So you use I am with ing form. Okay. Now the second concept or theme, that is state versus action. State versus action. Simple present tense, back to simple present tense for let's say this concept, or in this concept, this tense is often used to describe states, conditions, or permanent situations that do not involve a specific action. It indicates something that is generally true or unchanged over time. For example, he owns a bookstore. I own a car, for example, or I have, let's say, look at this. I said I have, I own, but we used he owns. By the way, in this case, I is considered as plural form, so don't put S after I, because like مثلا he or she, although I is singular, but it is not singular here, it's always plural in this case, especially in simple present. Simple present, I is considered as a plural, so we can say I own, let's say, a house مثلا, okay? But he owns a bookstore, he owns a house, okay? State, that is, of course, here expressing a state, which is here ownership, okay? Simple present tense for states or permanent situations as well. The simple present tense is frequently used to describe states, conditions, or permanent situations that are not actions but rather represent ongoing conditions or facts that remain unchanged over time, as we said earlier, with the examples mentioned above. Okay. Here are more examples demonstrating this usage. States of being, for example, we can say she is a teacher, مثلا. She is a teacher. I am a doctor. I am a doctor. She is a teacher. That is states here what? Occupation or jobs. The example we can say مثلا, the sky is blue. The sky is blue. And by the way, here, when using verb to be as the main verb in the sentence in simple present tense, this is considered as, or we call this state or this case as copulative case. Okay, copulative. Copula, that's using be to connect the subject with the complement of the verb. The complement either is as a noun, as a job, of course, or an adjective, or a prepositional phrase. For example, we are in a lecture right now, or I am in the lecture room, okay? Or in the classroom, for example. I am in my office, for example, as well. And of course, she is in her office, she is in hospital, So we use present that is with prepositional phrase and sometimes with the adverb phrase, okay? Like مثلا, I am here, okay? My car is there. My friend is upstairs. So these are also adverbs. So we use here what? We use sometimes verb to be, okay? To be the main verb. In this case, it's copulative case. Now back to also that is states here, okay? Unchanged states, that is say, we can say, for example, as I said, these examples, they are, here, مثلا, we can say the sky is blue. She is a nurse, he is a teacher, for example. Now, profession or ownership. Profession or ownership here. Example, she has a cat, okay? Position, that say, not profession, position. She has a cat. I have friends, for example. Okay, example also for owning or position. He owns, okay, a car. He owns a car. State or ownership, of course, as this sentence indicates. Example also they live in a house. They live in a house. State residence. Emotional states or feelings sometimes, that is verbs of feelings, okay, or thinking sometimes. We can say she loves chocolate. I love, let's say, look at it. She loves chocolate. I love, مثلا, coffee, for example, okay? I love tea. I love, apples, for example. So we can say example or I like or dislikes sometimes. Like he dislikes rainy days. He dislikes rainy days. State, that's preferences. Example, they enjoy traveling. That's state interest. I enjoy swimming, for example. Okay. Existence or identity as well. Example, for example, here, the Earth orbits the sun. The Earth orbits the sun. That is, the Earth, let's say, revolves around the sun or goes around the sun. State facts. Also, example for facts as well, or scientific fact, water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, for example. Okay. Another also to state general truth, we can say English is a global language, or English is an international language as well, okay? Arabic is a wonderful language, as we can see. Sensory perceptions, okay, for example, the coffee smells delicious. The coffee smells delicious. State perception. Also, example, the music sounds beautiful. The music sounds beautiful. So state perception. Other examples, of course, related to also present simple, that is, the flowers look vibrant. State perception. Or biographical information, we can say she comes from Spain. I come from Jordan. Okay. She comes from, let's say, the United States. Examples, he was born in 1990, state birth date. Okay. Although this is not present, but it's a state of birth date, of course. But this is past simple, okay, not present simple, okay? It's mistakenly put here, by the way. Of course, now in each of these examples, The simple present tense is used to describe states, conditions, or permanent situations that do not involve a specific action. These statements indicate something that is generally true and unchanged over time, or represent a continuous states or conditions. The simple present tense helps convey information about ongoing states or facts, providing clarity and precision in communication. Now, regarding present continuous tense, now, of course, since it's continuous or progressive, now this tense typically describes actions or activities that are currently happening at the same time of speaking, as we said, or in progress. It emphasizes also the dynamic nature of actions occurring in the present moment. The present continuous tense, also known as the present progressive tense, is commonly used to describe actions or activities that are happening at the moment of speaking, etc. Now, it emphasizes the dynamic and ongoing nature of actions occurring in the present moment. Here are some examples demonstrating this, usage. There's something, okay, I will tell you about it after, finishing these examples. Actions happening right now. Example, they are playing soccer in the park. They are playing chess right now, for example. Okay, so actions. Action, that's playing soccer. That's football. Example, we can say she's cooking dinner in the kitchen. That is cooking. Example, also another example, she or he's writing an email to his friend. That is writing an email is the action. Activities in progress, like, or for example, they are studying for their exams. Look at this at the library. They are studying. I am studying, for example, for the exam. I am, let's say, speaking English right now. I am speaking. She is painting a picture in the art studio. Okay, she is painting right now. He is writing an email to his friend. Now, temporary situations, example, like she's staying with her cousin, okay, while her house is being renovated. Situation is staying with her cousin. Also, they are living in a temporary apartment until they find an apartment place. Okay, situation, living in a temporary apartment. Also, he's working as a waiter until he finds a job in his field. Situations, working as a waiter now. Also, present continuous expresses future plans or arrangements, like here we can have, they are meeting their friends for dinner tonight. Plans, or arrangement, meeting friends. She's flying to Paris tomorrow for a business. Also, that is flying tomorrow. Okay, plan arrangement, flying to Paris tomorrow. Also, he's attending a conference next week in New York. So attending the lecture in New York in the future, of course. He is attending next week, okay, a conference. Ongoing changes, for example, or developments, like the company is expanding its operations to new markets, okay, or she is learning Spanish to prepare for her trip to Spain. Okay, we are learning English to improve our English. Let's say we are learning English to improve our English proficiency. So change, development, getting healthier. Okay. Now, in each of these examples, the present continuous tense is used to describe actions, activities, situations, plans, arrangements, changes, or developments that are currently happening or in progress at the moment of speaking, also emphasizing the dynamic and ongoing nature of actions or situations occurring in the present moment, providing a sense of immediacy and relevance in communication. The third point here, frequency and duration. Frequency and duration, of course, for both tenses. Simple present tense, is commonly used to express actions or events, as we expressed, that occur with regularity, frequency, or habitual repetition. I drink coffee every morning, for example. I go to work every morning. So on and so forth. Present continuous tense, okay, often denotes, okay, actions or activities that have a specific duration, certain time, that's it, or are happening temporarily rather than habitually. Example, مثلا, she is studying for her exam this week. Now, other points as well for frequency, duration in simple present specifically, okay, simple present tense specifically, that is frequency. Frequency refers to how often an action or event occurs. In the simple present tense, frequency adverbs such as, always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, occasionally, generally, all these are called adverbs of frequency, okay? We have, of course, definite adverb of frequency and we have indefinite. And never, of course, for negative sentences, are commonly used to indicate the regularity or repetition of an action. For example, she always goes to or for a run in the morning. She always goes for a run in the morning. Frequency, that is always here. She always. I always wake up at مثلا 4 o'clock. Okay, I always wake up for So I often مثلا comes on time. Okay, I usually help people, etc. So we use, for example, he usually eats. Okay, look at this. And again, I emphasize the use of the grammar here rule, which is the S form with the singular subjects and the base form with plural subjects and I. Okay, plural and I. So for example, here he usually eats lunch at noon, but I usually eat lunch at مثلا afternoon. For example, okay, I usually eat, we usually eat, but he usually eats, she usually has مثلا lunch. Frequency, of course, usually. Now this is occurred here. Example, now they often visit their grandparents on weekends. Frequency here, often, of course, and we use often. Duration, that is the time duration here. Duration refers to the length of time and an action or event lasts, the time period, let's say. In the simple present tense, the duration of an action is often indicated by time expressions such as every day, every week. That is, as we said, definite adverb frequencies. Daily or weekly, every day, every week, every month, etc. On Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Fridays, or other time-related adverbs like we use in English language. For example, she reads a book every night before bed. She reads a book every night. Duration of the night, of course. Now we can have also, he practices the piano for an hour. For an hour, look at this, an hour. Okay, each day, and we have each day, duration, an hour each day. They watch movie on Fridays. They watch a movie on Fridays. So on Fridays. Frequency and duration in present continuous tense. Okay. Now here we use frequency and duration as for present continuous or progressive tense. Frequency here in the present continuous tense, frequency is less commonly emphasized compared to the simple present tense. Yes, that's true. Okay, it's not used mainly in present continuous because present continuous expresses an action occurs at the same time of speaking. So compared now, however, adverbs of frequency such as always, usually, often, yes, can also be used in the present continuous tense to convey the regularity or repetition of an action in progress. For example, she's always talking on the phone. She's always talking on the phone. I believe this sentence, is clear to indicate or to show that he's usually studying in the library. He's usually, studying in the library, or they are often playing soccer in the park. They are often. Look at this. We use these adverbs of time to, although frequency, but they indicate, or the tense is what? Present continuous. Duration, of course, in the present continuous tense refers to the ongoing nature of an action or event. The present continuous tense inherently emphasizes the temporary or ongoing nature of actions, and duration is often implied by the context or specific time frame mentioned in the sentence. For example, she is reading a book for her literature class. duration, that is for her literature class. Okay. He is studying abroad for a semester. So for a semester here, this is a duration. Another example, they are working on a project until midnight. So we have until midnight. This is also duration. In both the simple present tense and present continuous tense, understanding the concepts of frequency and duration helps clarity, or we can say also helps to clarify how often an action occurs and how long it lasts. These concepts provide important context for interpreting sentences and understanding the temporal aspects of actions or events described in English grammar. By understanding, of course, these three main concepts, time, state versus action, and frequency versus duration, learners can grasp the nuances of the simple present tense and present continuous tense more effectively. These concepts provide a framework for learners to identify when you each, let's say, or when to use each tense appropriately and accurately in various contexts, enhancing their proficiency in English, grammar, and communication. Now, before summarizing the lecture, there is something I want to say about the difference between present continuous and past continuous, which is also, yani, or which must be mentioned. That is something, as we describe here, there are stative cases or verbs, okay, that indicate state, okay, that's unchanged states sometimes. These verbs generally are not used at all in present continuous, okay? I mean, they are not followed by ing, and that verbs like, love, hate, okay, like know, like have, that means own, okay? These are stative verbs. They are stative verbs, and they are considered as non-continuous verbs, non-progressive verbs. That means what? These verbs are only used in simple present. They are not used in present continuous at all. They are not followed by ing. At the same time, of course, this means they are not preceded by is, am, are, or verb to be in general. Okay? So they are always used with what? With simple present. So we can say, I like, مثلا, apples. Let's say, I have, let's say, friends. Okay, we can't say مثلا I am liking, I am having friends. No. Okay, so these verbs are stative verbs. Or for example, I've known my friends for مثلا 2 years, okay, or for a long time. So I've known. Know is one of these verbs. Finish is one of these verbs. Understand, see, that means understand. Think, okay, when means to guess or to believe. These verbs are called stative verbs. They are not continuous verbs. They are not used in present continuous with ing form, I mean, okay? Unless they are gerund, of course. Gerund is different matter and different rule. So this is what I want to say. Another thing that is, what we talked about is just what declarative sentences, tenses. I'm talking about present continuous, past continuous, present continuous, and present simple. That is only affirmative sentence or declarative, not negative, not questions. Okay, this will be different lesson. Regarding, of course, to sum up all the lecture here, of course, as you can see, we have explored various activities. Okay, we have explored various activities for explaining and practicing the simple present tense and present continuous. We started with a clear explanation of the differences between both tenses, including the structure, uses, signal words, or keywords. Also, we developed into interactive activities such as sentence building, role, let's playing, picture descriptions, engaging students in using sometimes both tenses in context, and with giving you many examples how to differentiate both tenses from each other and what each tense expresses, what, let's say, states that these tenses are, or both tenses are used, okay, where they differ, where they meet in, let's say, in their usages. Thank you for today. Have a nice time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. الله فيك.